All right, time now for another edition of Catching Up with Tommy Mac here on 1010XL's podcast platform. I'm in the 1010XL podcast studios with my man Grammage, and we are here on a Friday just after noontime and brought to you by our good friends at Team Tommy Mac, a group of businesses that I love endorsing, man. You see Code Ninjas right here. Get your kids into the program. Check out CodeNinjas.com. I'll talk about the rest throughout the show. Listen, I know it's a bye week, but we got some stuff to get into. It's State of the Jaguars time. 2-9 Jags. We're going to look at a couple things. We're going to look at the team stats, where they're at, and where they're ranked in the National Football League. I made a list of players out of the current 53 or 48 or whatever of who I'm keeping. I got 25 names out of the 53, so half. That depends how they finish, but we'll get into that as well. And then kind of like, what do you do? Where do you go from here? Of course, we got to figure out what happens throughout the year, but we'll get into that and more. Let's welcome in Grammage. How you doing, buddy? Good afternoon.
Yes, sir. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday, man.
Cooler weather, man.
Feels good.
It's chilling down.
Yeah,
I love it.
My
I love
life's
it, man.
good. I'm not on a 2-9 team. I know that. Kind of, on the outside looking in, but, geez, just a sad state of affairs. It's funny. I went to the gym this morning. I had one more body part to hit for the week. I try to hit every body part once a week. And went in, feeling good. Got it done early. Coming out, I start thinking about Jaguars today, catching up, and I get in a foul mood because I'm talking about my Jags. I start yelling out loud in my car, like, just stuff. I don't understand a lot of things. I don't get it, and we're going to go through it. And then I get home, and my wife, informs me that there's a little dance drama. So then I got even a more fouler mood. She said, "Why are you in a foul mood to begin with?" I'm like, "I'm thinking about our Jags, and I got to talk about it for the next 3 hours." And like I've always said, man, it's a drag after a while that they keep losing. Gives you plenty of content to talk about, but you want them to win. You're looking forward to win. One of the things we talked about at Jaguars today, and I want to get Grammage's thoughts, and I know a lot of fans feel this way, but I was asked, what do I want to see happen? I want to see this team win 6 games in a row and finish 8-9. That's what I want. The players that are healthy, I want them to win. They're not going to go 6-0. I'm just saying. But that's what I want. I know you're laughing. Listen, I have parameters. I mean, if you finish, what are we, 2-9? If you don't do better than 500, everybody's gone. And I mean that. If you finish 5-12, I would get rid of everybody. If you show me some fight, I'm still getting rid of people. And I'm probably getting rid of the GM because I think that's oil and water there between him and Doug. They are not on the same page. They are not. And I don't think they have been for a while as to what kind of player, what's going on. The Eric Armstead situation is just a perfect example of the power struggle going on. Guy should be a defensive tackle, period. Well, Balky promised him to play end, so he plays end and tackle. The coaching staff should be able to go to the player and say, "You're not playing end, you're playing tackle, period." And then you go to the GM and say, "I don't care what you told him. I don't care what you signed him to. We need him to play tackle." And by the way, another thing I'm doing is I'm telling Ryan Nielsen to keep the best damn football players on the field most of the game. Don't bring second-teamers out for full series. They're backups for a reason. Keep your starters out there. Make Eric play 3 technique, defensive tackle. I don't care who the other tackle is. Jefferson, Mason, whoever. But I'm telling you right now, when I see the rotation of, and no disrespect to these guys, I was a backup too, all right? So I'm not saying they're not good football players, but they're not starters for a reason. When I see a lineup of Eric on the outside, I got Lacey, Ledbetter, or Hamilton, I got Abdullah, and they're out there for play after play after play, and you're like, what are you talking about? They are nowhere near as good as our starters. Nowhere near it. None of them are. And listen, I watch it. Y'all do. You see it. Look, by the way, I saw this stat. You know who's third on our team in sacks? You know who's third on our team in sacks? We got 2 of them. You know who it is? He plays for Seattle. It's Roy Robertson Harris. He's got 2 sacks. He's got more than any of the other guys that have been here the whole year. they have one maybe. Ledbetter's got one. Lacey may have one. They all might have one each. Maybe.
Armstead got one week 1.
Yeah, maybe. That's what they have. Your third leading sacker's not even on this team anymore. So what are you telling me? I know what I see. Like, those guys aren't good enough. I see Hamilton getting knocked back 7-10 yards. I see Lacey, he's more stout than the rest, but I see him get knocked out. Ledbetter make a play on occasion, but he's not a consistent performer. He gets knocked back a ton. Jefferson's coming along a little bit. But you know what? Put that presence of Eric Armstead next to him at defensive tackle, and maybe you can figure out that fourth tackle or or second defensive tackle. But this whole rotation is over. And I know everyone wants Shad to make these moves. Look, a lot goes into firing your head coach midway through the season, especially one that has won a Super Bowl in the past and that went 9-8 2 years in a row. I know how they ended. I'm just talking from a macro level. So if he does keep him through the year and then fires him, that next candidate or list of candidates, they'll know that he's going to give him a full try. He's not going to yank the carpet out if he doesn't feel that great about them after a couple years. So at least he has that. So it's not as simple as just, fire him and move on. That's not as simple as it goes. So I understand why he may wait. And to be honest with you, I don't know what good it would do anyway. But I would demand things if I was Shad Khan. I would demand Doug to take over the place, period. I'm not telling you to get rid of Press. I'm not telling you to fire Press. I'm not telling you to demote Press. I'm telling you to not let him call plays anymore. And why does it have to be such a mystery? Why? You got so flustered when Mia asked the question in your press conference. That was embarrassing. Like, oh, gosh, you asked me about the play calling again. Well, fix the play calling. It's your offense. You've tried this with Press. I got nothing against Press. I don't even know Press other than what I see. Seems like a nice guy, but the production's not there. Okay, and by the way, in their defense, how many times do they got to run the wrong route, the wide receivers? That's something this wide receiver coach that everyone's so gung-ho about, he ain't done jack shit. You don't sit guys. Guys messing up routes all the time, dropping balls, not blocking. You see how St. Brown blocked last week? You see him take out our linebackers? You see our guys do that? They don't. Our tight ends do. They're great blockers, but our wideouts don't block like that. Not even close. They half-ass it half the time. So, listen, part of it, look, we've been through this all year, coach and player, whatever. At the end of the day, it's a production business. And you're 2-9 now, and if you don't finish better than 5-12, like, I'm almost thinking if you don't go 7-10, which is not going to happen, I don't think, but who knows in this business, you're all gone. You're all gone. And if you're not gone, or if you do finish, 7-10, I'm still figuring some things out. Because number 2 is I am demanding Ryan Nielsen to change his ways as a defensive play caller. I'm demanding it. You think of look, you think about culture. It does start with the owner. What kind of team do you want? Look, I know we just played Detroit, and they're the darling now. I get that. But look how they're built. They're built after how their coach is. Not how he coaches and all that, but how he is. He's a fiery, consistent, disciplined type coach. And guess what they are? The same. That's how they play. That's when you look at their roster, you're like, yeah, he's tough. Yeah, he's tough. Yep. Yeah, it's a tough player. And then you watch them play, and you watch how they're flying around, and they're pushing guys all over the place, at least our guys. So you got to figure that out. That's what Shad's got to figure out. And then you got to get the GM. You talk about Philly. This was a thing we were talking about on Jaguars today. How does Doug in 2017, how does he have a badass offensive line, a badass offense, a badass team? Did he coach differently? You know what I mean? Or did the GM, Howie Roseman, know what kind of players that he wants in that Philadelphia Eagle organization? There's only a certain kind of player I want. Not talent, but kind of person and player I want in this building. And they know how to build it. You can't have a finesse team up in Philadelphia. You shouldn't be able to have a finesse team in Jacksonville because we're a bunch of hardworking people that love this game of football and love our team. What do you say?
Sorry, my
Yep.
mic was off. I believe, following up on the Howie Roseman point,
Yep.
I believe what happened in 2017, and they had that great line, they had a really, really unique, extraordinary type of offensive line on that 2017 team where you had guys that were, some of them maybe a little undersized, but mobile and could move and could push people around.
Well, first of all,
That's rare.
Kelsey's not undersized. He's 6'4", 300. You know what I mean? They
Yeah.
had a big old line, but they were tenacious. They got to think about Jason
But they did what
Peters.
Doug likes to do. They could move around.
They're very athletic. You have to be athletic.
So I believe in the desire to replicate that,
Yep.
and to replicate 5 linemen that you can pull that can do the types of things he wants to do. He has maybe replicated the mobility of the lineman, but not the size, speed, attitude,
Tenacity.
right?
Attitude.
Correct. So I think that line was unique and rare, and you rarely have a line that's that good on all fronts and that versatile.
Yep.
And I think that in Trent and Doug's attempt to rebuild that, they have not gotten there.
Yeah. Well, they didn't address the O-line.
Correct.
They said, no, these 5 guys, they only played 1 game last year. Wait till they play this year. And by the way, the O-line, their stat, we'll go through them. They're not ranked bad. The defense is ranked horrible. I mean, across the board, horrible for the most part. Our offensive line on sacks given up and yards per carry, they're not bad. They're not bad. So, again, you can cast a lot of blame. Everybody plays a part, including the quarterback. But the defense has let this team down time and time again. Now, granted, I know what Doug said. You know, when Doug's saying it's you shouldn't point fingers in the middle of the year. He's saying, look, no doubt they've underperformed. But as an offense, we don't help the defense out at all. We're not extended drives. We're not making enough plays. We're not, time of possession's never in our favor because we can't sustain anything, whether it's a missed assignment or, a drop ball or whatever the case may be. Wrong throw, miscommunication. It's happened all damn year long. 3rd down, go look at 3rd down. They are freaking terrible in the league. I mean, terrible. But at the end of the day, whatever Ryan Nielsen's doing, it's not working. So you got to change it. So I would make those demands if I was the owner before maybe not before firing, but since he's not firing them, I would still make changes. I would. And if Doug's not going to do that, then you got a decision to make at the end of the year. And if he's going to do what allegedly he did with Philly, not demote or get rid of Press, and then he became, expendable after that, then so be it. Again, I'm not for this year anyway. So, that's part of this. There's a couple annoying things. One is that oh gosh, I wish I didn't say that. Right, you shouldn't have said it, but you did say it. Just like you should have never said, Doug, that your team is tired. That was like the worst thing you could say publicly. Like, how could you? I mean, what? 9-2's not tired? They're not sore. They're not beat up. 5-5 ain't tired. 8-3. You know what I'm talking about? They're all tired. Everybody's tired. By the way, out there in public, every time I'm just, hey, how you doing? Oh, I'm so tired. I'm like, guess what? Nobody gives a shit that you're tired. So quit saying that. Unless it's a really close friend and they're okay. But no strangers, I'm so tired. Like, I don't care. I was just kind of saying hello. Like, how you doing? Hopefully you're having a good day. Not I'm tired. But why would you ever say that as a head coach?
I thought
That's terrible, man. That's the worst thing you can say. Oh, these guys are tired. And then what did he say? Something like, they're probably tired of me and I'm tired of them. Like, what are you talking about? I don't get that, man. That's like the worst thing he could have said. I don't know. Maybe Doug sees it writing on the wall. Maybe. I don't know. It's kind of we're in this flux of ridiculousness. You know what I mean? Like, you don't even, I don't know. If I'm a player on that team and I'm fighting for my life and I'm fighting for wins, let the fans fight for draft status. That's fine. You guys, fans can do whatever, but I'm not tanking. Who can play is playing. Healthy guys are playing. Period, including the QB. I want to see my QB out there if he can play. I'm not sitting him. The hell's that going to do for him? What does it do for him if you sit him? Other than he doesn't injure the shoulder, which now they're saying even if he does need surgery, it's a minimal thing in the offseason.
See, that's why last week I was asking the question about Because I don't know. I don't know enough about the quarterback position and development of the quarterback position to know the answer either way. But that's what I was asking the other week when I was asking at what point when nothing is working that you're doing and your human nature sets in, you start trying to play hero ball all the time like Trevor does on occasion. At what point when you are playing in these games are you actually regressing and developing bad habits versus getting more experience and getting better?
Well, the only way to break bad habits is to work through them. You don't do them on the chalkboard. You don't do them by not playing. You do them by playing and then getting rid of those habits. I would, as a coach, I would rely more on my running game and take it off of the prize pupil. Sometimes I feel like they put him out there like, hey, yeah, this is our guy. Let's showcase him. It's not about showcasing anybody. It's about running an effective offense. You've gotten away from the running. Our running backs are averaging nice yards per carry. Now, granted, Tank had been hurt. Hopefully he's going to come back healthy. And then, okay, but let me ask you this, Grammy. So, okay, let's just say we take out Trev. Let's just say. Don't want him to get hurt. He's done for the year. Who's next?
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Ryan Thomas Jr. Why
That's fair.
Take him out. What if he gets hurt and
That's
it's
fair.
a season-ending injury
Yeah.
and he can't play next year? Take out Tank. He's hurt, but even if he comes back, who else you take? Taking out Trayvon. Take out Trayvon. No way, man. Too important. Right? He's as important to the defense as Trevor is to the offense.
Yeah, you're right. That's
Josh
fair.
Hines-Allen, am I taking him down too? Miller, forget it. You come in. You know what I'm saying? Like,
And it sets it to your point. I think that's a fair point that I hadn't really thought about. I think it does probably set a little bit of a bad message to the locker room that I'm here and you're there type of thing. Like,
and he's not there.
well, right, he's not. And
That's the problem.
And also
Right. Well, it's not a problem.
how can
That
you,
would be a problem.
unless he does get surgery or something, then that's a little bit of a different
That's
story.
different, yeah.
But if he doesn't,
Yeah.
how could he do that and then come back and look at the guys in the locker room's face and say we're equals?
No.
You can't, because you're not acting like you're an equal.
No.
That's a fair point. I didn't really think
No,
about.
But for the record, Trevor wants to play.
Of course he does. And we're not trying to speak
Players
for
gonna
Trevor or
wanna
anything.
play.
We're talking just hypotheticals
Players
here.
and coaches, they want everyone to play, and they want to win every chance they get a chance to play.
Of course. So I guess kind of my next question on it then. So Trevor now has missed the 2 games with the injury and whatever, and who kind of still remains to be seen when he might come back or whatever. I look at guys, and Trevor is better than these guys, but I'm just using them as examples for this specific thing. Anthony Richardson and Bryce Young, both were really, really struggling. Like, mentally, they were shot, and you could tell. They both didn't play for a couple weeks. They came back and just had Bryce is having the best little couple games of his career, and Anthony just had the best game of his season against the Jets.
Yep.
Could the fact that Trevor, because of the shoulder, missed a few games, could he come back and just be maybe mentally refreshed and
Maybe.
really, to your point, maybe go on a run and play really well?
Yeah,
I don't think
maybe.
the Jags are going to win the game. The defense is too bad.
Again, here's the thing. If I felt like the offensive line was getting him killed like I did last year, I don't feel that way this year. Like, it'd be different. Like, no, he's getting killed. Like, Bryce Young was getting killed. Like, and then he's
Yeah.
confused. Look, when you get that pressure and then you get confused, you're a mess. It's like getting punched in the face and your legs go. You're kind of like,
Right,
whoa.
right.
You're kind of stunned. And they're rookies. They're not 4-year veterans. Trevor's played a ton of football. He's still learning. I'm not saying that. He's still young.
Well, they're
He's played a
second-year guys,
ton of
but I
NFL
get the point.
Football. Yeah, second year, not first year.
Anthony's
they're
kind of
still
a rookie. He's
young.
missed a lot. But.
Yeah. So I think factors go into that. Look, again, people get their panties in a wad when you say anything negative about Trevor. Trevor is not the reason they're 2-9. He's part of the problem that they've been having on offense, but he's not the only part, and he's not the major part. So that's fair to say. I think the major part is the players not knowing what they're doing, not running the right routes, not catching the ball. He does look. He needs to work on his accuracy. He does. He's not as accurate as you think he is. He needs to be a lot more accurate, including on his completions and where that ball is placed. There should no be. Now listen, again, it's not all the time, but it's enough to where it's warranted. I'll ask Grammage. Grammage, how many times this year did either Ingram or Strange have to literally full-on dive for a simple out pattern? Full-on leave their feet.
Yeah.
Simple first down throw. It's not every play.
Or the
right?
BTJ one against Philly.
BTJ one against Philly, or the players not being in the right spot. Trevor's throwing it to a spot and they're not there. Happened to Mac too. It happened to both of them. But he does need to improve. So I that's part of the reason I want him out there if he's healthy. And he's and look, again, could he get hurt? Anybody could get hurt. What I would tell him is no more head first running. When you're out in the open water, you're sliding or getting out of bounds. He was fine in the pocket. He got hit a couple times. He's a tough guy. He's not. One thing about Trevor is he's physically a tough dude. He's got to be pretty emotionally tough for all the, the negativity that goes along with playing that position, especially when you're 2-9, because you do take the brunt of it. Some of it's warranted. Some of it's probably not warranted, right? But I do. I think to get rid of those bad habits, you got to work through them, and you gotta play through them. And then once you get that good habit going, then hopefully that just keeps going and building and building and building.
So,
and you're done with that bad habit.
Let me ask you another question then. Do you trust the powers that be in the coaching staff that are in charge of developing Trevor and continuing to make him better to fix those bad habits that he has shown at times?
Let me flip it around, if I could. Okay, other than protection, which I think they've done a pretty decent job on protecting him, how are these coaches ruining Trevor, as I hear out there in Twitter land? Oh, he's being ruined. How? Tell me how he's ruined. Other than if you can't protect him. If he's getting killed back there, that's a totally different story. And I would be with you. But he's not getting killed back there.
I think
they ruin him?
I think I'm somewhere in between they're ruining him and where you are, I think, with it's more on the player himself. 'Cause like I'll say, I mean, you said earlier, like, this receivers coach hasn't done anything. That receiver,
think how many mistakes a receiver group has made this year.
So it's too far to say that that's ruining Trevor, but it ain't making life easier.
Okay, so players got to catch the ball.
Got to catch the ball. Got to be in the right spot too. Right. I mean, I find it hard to believe.
Who's that on?
It's got to be on the receivers running the routes and the coach.
The coach has got to make sure they know. But I mean, how many times do you think he's told them the route?
Well, right. So
I mean, you know what I mean? I mean, they don't gloss over it. They're like, guys, this is how you run the route. We see the variations. Sometimes they start on the same. They'll come like this, and there'll be a deep cross, and this guy, he flushes everybody out. How many times? And by the way, when it works, it's one of our most successful pass plays. It is. Other than the deep post down the middle to Brian Thomas Jr. You know what I mean? So I get it. Like the coach, I'm not saying the coach is absolved. I would look at the coach and be like, what the hell's going on? Like, if I was Doug, I'm in his room. Like, what is going on? Like, are they not working extra? Are we not running? Are they working the jugs? Are they working their hands? What are they doing off the field? Bad habits. Go back any player. Go back to Trev. What's he doing to correct those bad habits? Is he doing anything on his own to correct those bad habits that he may be developing? You know what one of his bad habits is? He throws off his back foot and just relies on his arm. He does. He throws that. And sometimes there's pressure. He can't step into the throw. I get it. But he develops that habit. He's got that bad habit of what? Only roll, like when trouble happens. He goes only out one way normally, right? And he probably leaves too early. Now, part of that is not being, and I don't blame him. If they're not in the right spot, I'm not going to throw the ball. He learned. Remember, I went over the Green Bay game. Right, he had the interception and then the fumble, right? Well, on that fumble, he wanted to throw that ball. Parker and Kirk. Parker was going deep. Kirk was coming over. He hesitated because why? Because they were in the wrong spot. They were in the same spot. Same throw he threw earlier, that was a pick. Brian Thomas Jr. did not clear the safety out, and they ended up in the same spot or roughly near it. And he threw it to a spot, and it got picked.
So, to me, we've talked about this before. To me, that is on the coaches, and here's why. The receivers coach, Press Taylor, Doug, what have you, and here's why.
Take the play out?
Well,
don't run the play? I could see that, maybe.
The reason it's on the coaches is because it's not like it's the same one guy that's always in the wrong spot.
Fair.
there's been a myriad of combination of two dudes that end up in the same spot. So if that's the case, then that either means A, to your point of taking the play, that either means A, it's a crap design, which I find it hard to believe Press and Doug are so stupid that they're calling plays. They're not doing that.
When it works, he's wide open.
They're not doing that. What it is, clearly, is for whatever reason, it is not being communicated well enough, practiced hard enough, repped well enough to make sure that it doesn't happen. And the reason I put it on the coaching staff is because it's not like it's Brian Thomas Jr. that's always in the wrong spot, or Christian Kirk that's always in the wrong spot, or Evan Ingram. So if it's a whole mix of dudes, and that tells me that they're not being communicated well enough to do it correctly.
For the record, they were doing it last year. Remember, Ridley and Kirk got hurt in practice.
Same coaching staff, same receivers coach, same offensive coordinators. So to that point,
I agree with you on that. So why does he still have a job?
That's a good question. Okay, that's a great question.
That's fair.
And I think
that's fair.
And I think to the point that you and I definitely agree on hard is a point that you and I definitely agree on hard is if I got a guy at a receiver or wherever and they're consistently going to the wrong spot and they're screwing everybody else or whatever, I got to take them out.
Right, can't play.
And they never take anybody out.
No,
it's just they let the same dudes go out there and make the same mistakes all the time.
The only time they did it was when they replaced Lloyd with Muma, but then realized Muma's not as athletic as Lloyd. And
they put, I guess, when Etienne missed the pass ball against Houston, they put him in the doghouse. Okay, great, two guys, but okay.
All right, so let me flip it. Let's just flip it around and play hypothetical. I got the wide receiver coach. I think his name's Hall.
Chad Hall.
What's his name?
Chad Hall.
Chad Hall. So I don't know Chad. I just know of him. So if I sat here and, how would you respond? What if he said, you have no idea how many times I pound it home to run the right route to all my receiver group. They know it. We go over it every damn week, every damn day. I go show them on film. I show them in practice. I show them when it works. I show them, you know what I mean? Like, what else do I do? Bench them would be the answer. Why don't you bench any of them? That's fair.
I 100% agree.
But in his defense, I can understand him going, I would go berserk if I was a coach and I hammered it into do it this way and you can't do it. I would have a heart attack right there on the field. I would lose my mind.
To continue the conversation on that, they don't go berserk. And that's part of the problem, in my opinion.
Okay.
And I'm not saying...
You know why, though? Because Doug doesn't go berserk.
Well, correct.
Doug's demeanor is not to go berserk.
And we've talked about this 100 times, and I also don't think it's healthy to be the coach that just yells and screams at everybody.
I agree with that. Yeah, I don't need that either.
But I think and we've talked about this time and time and time again, it is so aggravating to me that it'll be second quarter and defense, offense, who is just all over the place. They're screwing things up. One guy is costing them plays, whatever. Nobody on the sideline rips into them and lets them know you're costing us.
Right, they brother-in-law each other.
Remember the older everyone brother-in-laws everyone. The whole
Thanks, Coach Zabo.
The whole Doug quote about they're a little tired of me, I'm a little tired of them. That's brother-in-law as it can be. Come on, man. You think Tom Coughlin would say, "Yeah, I think the players are just tired."
If I ever told them I was tired, they'd be like, "Yeah, you're so tired. Go to a hotel and you pack your bags."
But Tommy,
home. Tell your mom and dad you're tired, Tom. See how that goes.
Agree or disagree here?
Yep.
When you hear a coach publicly say, "I think the guys are just tired. I think they're a little sick of me," whatever, is it surprising that that's the same coach and the same coaching staff that allows receivers to run in the same spot all the time?
No, right. There's something to that. Grammage. And if the position coach ain't going to do it, then the coordinator's got to do it. And if he ain't going to do it, the head coach has got to do it. I agree with that. I don't think the head coach is like that. I don't think Doug's like that. I don't think Doug goes into Chad Hall's office and says, "Hey, man, you got to sit so-and-so."
Right.
I'm sick and tired of him running the wrong route.
Last year with Fortner.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right.
Fortner was a turnstile last year, and they never once said,
let's try somebody different.
Tyler Shatley was on the team as a backup last year that has proven a capable center time and time again.
Good center. And
they simply would not make the change. Yep. Why? Because he's a draft pick? I don't care. He stinks.
Yeah.
And but
again, if you're going to coach that way, you got to have just vets that don't need your coaching.
And they don't have that.
They don't have enough.
At least you're right.
They don't have enough.
At least not enough. And there's nobody on this team, at least from what I can tell, is ever genuinely scared of losing their position or of getting their ass chewed out.
Oh, right.
There's no fear of it.
Well,
so
we don't know inside, but outside it don't look like they do. You know what I mean? Like, we're not inside the meeting rooms. I'm sure some of the coaches got to get on them at least a little bit.
But if it was enough to make a difference inside, behind closed doors,
see it outside.
then we'd see it some on the side. Again, I don't mean you're ripping everyone's head off all the time.
Yeah.
But I mean when somebody is costing the team, they need someone in their face saying, hey, man.
I've said this before, and I'll say it again. And I go try to Google Bobby Knight talking about putting guys' asses on the bench. It's back in whatever year, 80s or whatever. He's in his coaching uniform. And he's sitting up on a row of folded chairs. He's just kind of hanging out. And they're like, how do you get your guys to do it, game in and game out? And he says, well, sitting their ass on the bench is a great equalizer. There's nothing more humiliating, nothing more embarrassing than losing your starting job in sports. I don't care what level we're talking about. Get cut or lose your starting position in high school and all your friends know. And all your peers know, and your family knows, and your parents know. That's humiliating. It's embarrassing. Go up to college, same deal. Go up to the pros, even more so. Wait a minute, you're making $20 million a year, and you're the starter, and they benched you? Wow, what happened? Why'd you get benched? It's humiliating. You don't want to show your face. You don't want to talk to anybody. It's awful. But there's no fear of that. And I know, look, again, and by the way, it's not just the coach here. You got to have from the owner down that you're allowed to bench guys because politics do play a factor, right? I'm telling you, we've already been through it with Eric. You put him at DT. He goes to the GM. You told me I'm playing DN. Next week he's playing DN. It's a struggle there. You know what I mean? You got to have it from the top to bottom. Because here's the thing, okay? Here's the thing. The money's not changing. It's only going up, even for everybody. And I'm happy for all the players. But that's the reality of it. So how do you incentivize them? You hope they just have it inside them, that they are, they just hold themselves to such a high degree of accountability that they're the first ones to look in the mirror and say, it's on me, and I'm going to change, right? You hope that. You hope you have 53 guys like that.
And I get the sense that Doug assumes that of his team.
He assumes they should do it. Like it should just be that way.
Right, correct. That's what I mean, yeah.
Again, what works on paper should work on the field, but he's taking out the human error, the human element of it. You know what I mean? So, and when you don't have those kind of people, it's just not going to work. And that's the most frustrating part about it. So you got to be able to go and say, no, you know what? Like, for instance, let me just role play. I'm Doug Peterson. I walk into Trent's office. Trent, Eric's playing tackle. No, he's not. Yes, he is, because it's best for the team. I don't care what you told him. You go tell him he's got to play tackle, period. Now, Trent may be like, well, you don't have that authority over me, and then we have a big problem. See what that is? That's a microcosm of this team. It may be small, but it's a microcosm of this. It was funny. I always tell my daughters, gym etiquette is a microcosm of etiquette out in the streets. You know what gym etiquette is? Where you don't take someone's weights. You ask if anybody's using it. You don't stand in front of them, there's etiquette. It's a microcosm. Well, that deal with Eric Armstrong is a microcosm of the problem inside the organization.
Mason Smith is also another microcosm.
There's something going on with Mason. I don't quite know, but there's some kind of pull there. What? Come on, he's a second-round pick. Now, is his ankle that hurt? How is he with injury? I don't know, but why isn't he out there? Now, if you tell me he's injured, then, okay, I guess I got to believe he's injured. But that's another guy. Is that a power thing, right? Because Doug has 48, right? He's got authority over the 48. Well, he might say, you know what? I'm not playing Mason. You got rid of Roy Robertson Harris. You got rid of Gibson. I don't know if Gibson could have done anything. I don't even know what he's doing out there. But you got rid of our third leading sacker on the team. And out of, by the way, Hamilton, Ledbetter, and Lacey, Roy Robertson Harris is better than all three of them, isn't he? More consistent. How would you like Roy Robertson Harris next to Eric Armstead and Trayvon and Josh Hines Allen? Now that's a quartet I could look forward to watching.
That's what I thought we were getting this year.
What's that?
That's what I thought we were getting.
That's what we
this
thought
year.
we were getting, but we're not.
Instead, I have to watch Tyler Lacey and Jeremiah Ledbetter get cardio out there. It's
you know how I feel.
So aggravating.
I don't get it. I don't get it. All right. So, but I know you got to go in a few minutes, don't you? So I want to just ask you this question. So I wrote down names of who you could build around for this team moving forward. Now, we got 6 games to go. A couple guys you may add to it based on how they finish. Maybe not, okay? But you tell me where you would change it. So, on offense, I got 10 names. I got BTJ,
Yes.
Trev,
Yes.
ETN, and Tank.
ETN.
Okay, fair enough. I got Evan, Strange, and Farrell. I like them all. I think they're all fine tight ends. If you use Strange a little bit more, I think you get more production on them. I got Morse, and I got Harrison. That's it for my offense.
You could even make that list a few less, I think.
You could maybe take ETN out.
You could take Farrell out too, because Farrell's a good player, but build on
He's a good blocking tight. I just think he's a good. Maybe build around is not the right term, but who I'm keeping.
Because to me, I think of those. I think of that as like foundational pieces of the offense.
Well, you can't replace everybody. You can't replace every position.
But I'm saying like.
I know what you're saying. Maybe I should have said build around.
I took your question as like irreplaceable guys is what I took.
Yeah, no, they're not. I don't think any of them are really irreplaceable, except maybe Brian Thomas Jr. and maybe Trev, at least for this team. But that's it.
ETN's kind of the one where I'm sort of wavering because
he does give up the ball a little bit too.
And it's pretty conceivable that he won't be on the team in 2 years based on how the contract is going. He'll be here next year.
Right.
The year after, it's like, I mean.
Well, and Tank's a legit back. No doubt about that.
But Tank's younger, so he'll be here a couple more years than that. But
you can build around Tank. You give him a good offensive line. You can build around that running back.
And contractually, it makes more sense, too. So
totally. All right, special teams, I'll skip to them. All 3, they're staying. Ross,
Beasts.
Logan, Cam.
Beasts.
Some of the best in the league.
Yep.
Really. Some of the best interposition. They should all be all pros. Maybe
100%.
Cam might need a little work. He's got a lot to going against, but Logan Cook's the best punter in the league. There's no doubt about that, in my opinion. All right, defense. I got Josh Hines Allen and Trayvon. I only got Eric if he plays defensive tackle. If not, I don't want him back. I'm done. Mason, I still think in Jefferson. Okay. Linebackers. Keeping Miller. Probably keep a Lukin. I'm not getting rid of Lloyd because of the, he's still a draft pick, but I don't know. I've kind of lost faith.
But he's no longer a starter for you, I think, is what you're probably
I think he can. Look, he's good against the run. He is. I mean, you watch against the run. He's normally near the ball. Now, granted, they got ran on a ton last week. Get your D-line pushing your lap. You're not making plays. But Miller, to me, should never leave the field. Miller should be my dime backer, and he's something I can build around in the future. I think he's that good of a player.
But would you also agree a Lukin should never really leave the field either?
I just think in dime, where you're the only backer, I think Aluakin's out there because he knows more. He knows the defense better. But I think Miller's a better cover guy. I mean,
and when I got 2 backers, it needs to be Aluakin and Miller. So
correct. And then Lloyd somewhere in the line if you want him. You know what I mean? You're gonna make him a quasi rusher, I think. I mean, or get rid of him. First round pick. I mean, look, you go down. We did that list last offseason, didn't we? The picks of that Trent Baalke's made and graded them all. I mean, you get rid of Lloyd. I mean, that's a big miss. I don't know. All right, let's move on. Defense. I'm keeping Campbell, Jerry and Jones, and Prince. I'm getting rid of the safeties. I don't like the safeties anymore. Cisco maybe, but he hasn't shown it. Antonio hasn't reached his potential at all. I thought he was going to be a stud. Antonio Johnson, he was a stud in college. I thought they got a steal, but he hasn't done anything. Savage, I don't know, makes too many mistakes. He makes plays too, I'm not saying, but I don't think you can count on him moving forward. You can't count on Darby, especially if you play him in off cover. I don't get that. See, that Darby's a press man-to-man back. That's all we heard, right? That's all he's done. He's good at it. He gets beaten off coverage almost every time. Every completion against him, when he's in off coverage, he's pretty much beat. He can't dictate anything when you're off coverage. You just got to read and react. You can't slam him at the line. You can't hit him. Can't do anything. And I'm keeping Daniel Thomas. He may not be a starter, but I tell you what, I wish I had 53 Daniel Thomases on my team that had that kind of attitude. Go watch that guy run down a punt. It means something to him every single time. He's got the attitude that you wish the entire team had. Not all this talk and chatter, not all the spin and yarn crap, but you watch the way he plays. To me, that's a guy you got to keep on this team. So there's not many. Think about that. There's like 20, 22 out of the current roster. I may be wrong on a few. Okay, whatever. But the reality is, best roster ever assembled. Are you kidding me? That should be fireable alone. That should be fireable alone. That statement. And you know he didn't come up with it all on his own. All right. So that's what you got. We're going to look at team stats review and wrap it up. Next week, I'll probably come in Monday. Are you here Monday, Grimmage?
Yes, sir.
You are? Okay, because next Friday we're off, so I'll probably do something from home. But on Monday I'll come in, all right, and do another edition of Catching Up with Tommy Mac, brought to you by Team Tommy Mac. I mentioned Code Ninjas, codeninjas.com. Chris Rosero's bail bonds gets you out of jail real quick. Make sure you keep that number locked into your phone, 904-822-2245. Number one name in the bail game, Carpet Man Flooring, the number one name in carpet and other types of flooring, LVP. Carpet Man's LVP. Carpet Man's tile, hardwood floor, you name it. Any type of flooring, highest quality at the lowest prices. CarpetMan.biz. Fields Cadillac, my title sponsor for Riding Shotgun. If you haven't checked that out, go to the @TommyMac55 YouTube channel. My last guest, or latest guest, was head basketball coach at UNF, Matthew Driscoll, and he was an absolute pleasure to have on. Make sure you check out Fields down here in St. Augustine near the Avenues Mall, and I'm planning an I-295. J-Dog Junk Removal and Hauling. Hey, your junk is another person's treasure. No doubt about it. They're going to refurbish that junk. They'll pick it up, refurbish it, and give it to needing families that are military families. So in a season of giving, get that stuff that you're hoarding or whatever you're doing out there. Put it together. Let J-Dog come pick it up. 844-GET-J-DOG, spelled D-O-G. The original way, the OG way. The OG way. All right, Azar Sausage, some of the best. We just had it. Sausage dogs last night in a bun. In your favorite dish, you're in a bun. Azar Sausage is the one. Winn-Dixie and all over your local grocers here in Northeast Florida. Newmark Phoenix Realty Group. Phoenix Realty, good friends of mine for many, many years. The number one commercial real estate brokerage house right here in town. Investments, development, industrial, retail, office. They do it all. They know the market better than anybody. They've been together since 93. They're absolutely phenomenal. Give them a chance. 904-399-5222. Salt Air Inn and Suites. I was there yesterday talking to the owner, Kurt and Kyle, and man, what a great job they've done over there. It is always packed. It's a great time, and I tell you what, they've got some great deals for you. A boutique hotel just 4 blocks off the ocean with concierge service up and down the beach. That's right, including the Jacksonville Beach Pier. Family Tradition Specialty Foods, home of Coconut Joe's. They just won the Scovie Awards, man. Fantastic stuff. The awards for hot sauces. I know what hot sauce is on my table, and it's Coconut Joe's. That's right. The Sriracha is my favorite. The Pineapple Ghost is number 2, and that garlic Parmesan is, and the mango is good too. No question about that. FreedomFinance.LLC. Courtney Myers is your guy if you're looking for any help in the financial world with your business. Early stage, startup, what have you, mid-range, it doesn't matter. Bookkeeping, accounting, fundraising, forecasting. He does it all. Courtney's the man. Give him a try at FreedomFinance.LLC. And Michael Nickus is State Farm Insurance. He's my agent. Give a chance to be yours. I mean, why not? You pick up the phone, give him a call, 904-777-6888. Office, home. Am I thinking not office, dumbass? Home, life, auto, and supplemental health is what he offers, and they're fantastic, 24/7 team throughout the week. Anytime you need them, Tommy Mac. Team Tommy Mac is always there for you. Check out TommyMac.net. You'll see them all there. All right, team stats review. I'm gonna rank them real quick. We'll go through it. Not good on defense. Let's start on offense. It's a little bit better. Points per game, 18.9, ranked 21st in the National Football League. Not good enough. Yards per carry. Overall, they're 4.5. Tanks at 5.5. ETN at 4.0. They're tied for 7th in the National Football League. That's pretty good. I don't know why we don't run the ball more. I don't. I tell you, both backs, they've been effective. Yards per attempt plus completion percentage. Trevor, I did Trevor alone. He's tied for 10th at 7.3 yards per attempt. That's better than last year. 61.3% completion. That's not good enough. 60 used to be good. Now it's, higher 60, 70 at the minimum with these guys. Max, not any better. He's at 4.6 yards per pass, and he's at 61.7% completion percentage. All right, this is where it gets bad. Now, I won't get to that yet. Sacks, 24 sacks given up, tied for 8th best. Pretty good for the O-line. Got to give the O-line a little bit of credit. Let's see here. Here's where it gets bad. 3rd down. We are tied second to last in offense. 31.2% conversion rate. Despicable. That's drop passes. That's missed blocks. That's missed holes. That's missed throws. That's not being on the same page. And they haven't been all year long. They were bad last year, too. You thought it was going to be better, but it's not. 4th down, they're tied for 13th at 50%. So not too bad. Turnover ratio, they're 4th from the bottom at -8. They give the ball away way too much and don't take the ball away nearly enough. All right, defensively. Ryan, please, just do yourself a favor and keep the best guys out there. Forget this rotating. How do you get in a rhythm? You're a former player. You can't get into a rhythm with looking over your shoulder thinking somebody's coming to replace me. You got to be out there, man. You got to let the starters start and stay, and then spell them on occasion. But don't you take out a full line and put in that backup line, they get their ass kicked. They do. I'm sorry, they do. Not every play, but enough. Come on, enough's enough. All right, let's see. Points per game, almost 29 a game. We're 3rd from the bottom. Gosh, just awful. 4.3 yards per carry. Tied for 7th, but 4.3 sucks. It's got to be under 4. And there are a lot of teams tied, whether 4-0, 4-1, 4, so I don't know how much that matters. Oh, gosh, it just gets worse and worse. 8.5 yards per attempt. Last in the league. They give up the most yards per attempt. That means they're not hitting the QB nearly enough. They're not getting any jams on the wideouts. They're playing pitch and catch. Well, guess what? When you play off coverage and you got no pressure, that's what teams will do to you, man. They just pitch and catch it all day long. 71% completion percentage. That's where it should be. That's where our offense should be. But our defense gives that up, and that's second to last. Second to last. Terrible. Maybe not 71, but you got to be 65, 68, somewhere in that range. 3rd down, 44.76. 4th from the bottom. Think about that. We're second to last in the league on offense. So every 3 3rd downs, we give the ball back to the opposing team's offense twice. Then our defense gets them to 3rd down, and almost half the time they don't get off the field. It's terrible. You can't win that way. You just can't win that way. 4th down on defense, or 7th from the bottom, giving up 11 out of 16. So 11 out of 16 conversion. Sacks were 13th with 21. Interceptions were tied for 11th with 5. And again, 4th from the bottom in turnover ratio at -8. I wish I had all the answers. I kind of feel like I have some of them, but I don't know. I don't know where they go from here. I want to see them finish, though, and I know a lot of you don't, but that's okay. Fans can fan. I'm just, as a former player, I would never give up. I would never not play 100%. And I wouldn't expect any other play. Look, I thought they I don't know. They got pushed around last week. They got pushed around. I know someone think like they don't hit enough. They hit it. They hit plenty in camp. So I don't know why it didn't transition to being a physical team. But all they can do is lick their wounds and come back fighting. And I want to see the fight. And I want to see him play. And I want to see him perform well. And I have parameters, though, right? I told you. If they don't finish 7-10 or better, Oh, they can't finish any better. What are 7-10? 5-1? Yeah. Jeez, that's a tall order. Hey, you beat Houston, you get on a run, maybe. Who knows? You get a week to figure that out. But such a damn shame we're here. Listen, all I know is this. We always have a ton of content when they don't play well. We have ton of content when they play well. So it doesn't really matter for the show as far as, what you can talk about. There's plenty to talk about all throughout the offseason. But, after a while, you're like, come on, man. Like, I just Graham made some good point. Grammage made some good points with the wide receiver coach. Well, why is he still high? Why is he still here if he doesn't make any change? Or is he handcuffed because Doug says, "Hey, we're not making changes"? He's got to do what the coach says. So I don't know. It just seems like a lot of mud inside the organization between the GM and the coach and staff and that locker room. And I don't know. Maybe they can clean it up this week and come back strong next week and give us something to be proud of. All right? I don't care about draft pick. I don't. It's more about attitude for me. Getting the right players with the right attitude that all they care about is football and all they care about is winning. I hope you all have a great weekend, I should say. I'll be back Monday, so I wish you happy Thanksgiving then. I got my brother and my nephews coming in town, so looking forward to that. And we'll be kicking it around the beaches, having some fun. So hopefully we'll see you out. But I'll be back Monday for another edition of Catching Up with Tommy Mac. Until next time, stay safe, be cool out there, enjoy your weekend. And all you Jag players, man, I hope you look hard in the mirror and figure this thing out, man. Make us proud of you, man. Make us proud of you. All right, that'll do it. Take care. Be safe. Stay cool. Stay cool. Be safe. We'll see you next time right here on Catching Up with Tommy Mac. Thanks so much, everybody. Have a great weekend.